who pops on. Nobody yet. It's in the chat. Oh, all right. Anka's on here. Love it. We missed you last week. Can watch and cook at the same time. Perfect. Perfect. Multitasking. That's what it's all about. If Anka, if there's anything you want to hear about, you want to chat about, let us know. Just waiting on Alex to hop on, but hey, we can talk about anything. My mind is firing. I was at Masters tryouts this past weekend. Did a two day Saturday and Sunday morning. Worked out well, and I had the realization Saturday night. It was the first organized ultimate I played since last August at U.S. Open. So, little things were rusty, but physically felt awesome. So it's just reaffirms that this approach is really works. Okay, like the isometrics, the mobility stuff, pretty amazing. I feel mildly sore today, but not much. And yeah, it's just really fun. When you go out to the field and you feel really good, it just changes what you can do. For example, like we were doing, like a 4-line drill to warm up, and every single rep, my mindset was like, imagine this one rep is your tryout. And it's just very exciting to feel like you can put everything into every rep and not worry about fatigue, not worry about pain. Leonard, tryout for what team event? Yeah, so this was in the Philly area, join or die. So it's a Masters team. They finished 7th actually at Masters Nationals last year. So we're hoping we got a really great group this year, which is exciting. A really, really talented group. In fact, in 2016 on Philly Patrol, I played on that team and we finished 7th at Nationals, and a lot of the same group is in this. So it's pretty fun to be on the field with a lot of the same people. So that is exciting. Again, I've been training hard myself, and I've been getting out on the field and pushing it and really practicing what I preach. But, having not played competitively on the field with people, sometimes it's hard to know. It's like, am I really physically prepared? Answer is yes. So very exciting. Very exciting. And yeah, Anka, that's a long time. I was like, with the baby being born, and it was August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. I mean, 7 to 8 months of just kind of doing my own training and getting very little sleep. And yeah. I was also reflecting, so putting things in perspective, I've been really, really consistent with like my bedtime routine, which I recently posted about, with isometrics for the knees and the Achilles. And part of what has helped with that, you can think like sleep has been a disaster for months now with a newborn, which is to be expected. But what that has helped is for me to focus on the things I can control, because I know my recovery is not going to be the best, because the sleep is not going to be great, because I don't have as much time for myself, which is totally cool. But understanding that, I was like, it is even more important that I am doing the cars and the isometrics and really hammering the mobility work to ensure that I can help myself recover better and be more prepared. Yeah. And yeah, sleep is so that being said, you can play at a high level and feel pretty good without getting great sleep. I don't want people to think like, oh man, I can't sleep well, like I'm screwed. However, if you have the ability, please try to get the best sleep you can. Good sleep hygiene, as some people put it, is so important for consistently getting sleep. So like having a bedtime routine, having a consistent time you go to sleep and consistent time you get up, very, very helpful. Getting sunlight directly as early as possible in the morning, and if it's cloudy, you can still get out there. And then even getting some evening light. So all of those things are very, very helpful, in addition to reducing some of like the bright overhead lights in the evening. Again, we can't always do that, and that's okay. Don't obsess over it. But if you can make little changes, it can help a lot. So, hey there, Lynn. Welcome. So we got a few people on here. That's exciting. And yeah, I didn't get a confirmation from Alex today, but we'll see if he. I didn't get a text either. So, different time zone. Who knows? But I'm happy to chill here and chat about whatever. Um, and Anka, I appreciate this. Um, this is important. I talk about training, and I just put a note on a little video on my story on Instagram about some of my own experience in training and some of my expertise. But this is important. Working with so many people has helped me to understand like the importance of the mentality. And things aren't going to be perfect, no matter who we are, no matter what we want to do. So if we can accept what we are able to do and what we're not, control what we can, and let go of the things we can, that's a big ask. But the better we can do it, I think the happier and more fulfilled we'll be. Um, and so, great question here, Lenny. So, is it okay to do isometrics every night, or should we take fatigue, et cetera, into account? It is okay to do isometrics every night. My general approach is, and this is based on some of what I've learned from Andreo Spina of Functional Range Conditioning and Keith Barr, who has done some research. My general approach is the evening stuff, I do it relatively low intensity. So 30 to 60% of my max intensity. More often than not, it's closer to like 60. We tend to push harder, but it's not something that's super exhausting or really fires you up. It might develop some fatigue in the muscles, and that's totally cool. But I would do 20 to 30 seconds at like moderate to light intensity for 2 to 3 sets per body part that you're trying to target. And you can absolutely do that every night. So what Keith Barr recommends, his protocol is, I think it's like 3 to 4 sets of 30 seconds at like a relatively low intensity. And then he says the refractory period, so the period at which you want to do it again, that you're kind of neurologically and tendons are recovered, they're ready for more input, that period is about 8 hours. So if you really wanted to, you could do that early in the day in the morning, and then in the evening, and then wake up, and then in the morning and evening, so you can get 2 inputs per day. What I tend to do, and has worked well for me, is I have my bedtime routine that I do, so I guarantee I get it then, and then I will often get reps in throughout the day whenever possible that are not super high intense. So it's not like I'm doing high intensity reps just randomly throughout the day, but I'll get some of the lower intensity isometrics in kind of opportunistically. I had a call that I was on that I didn't have to be too involved with, and I'm sitting there doing like knee isometrics, and I could get a bunch in and still pay attention to what I was doing. So, yeah. Yeah, Lenny says, sweet, I'll do my 3 worst areas, then even on high impact days. Yes, absolutely. So, for example, and people seem to be interested in it, so I'll share more of my own experience specifically, which is also why I like getting back to playing more, because then I can share like specific stories and things. So for example, Saturday we had our first practice, and I got home on Saturday, and that afternoon and then that evening I did isometrics for my knees and Achilles. I did hip and knee and ankle and shoulder cars just to help make sure I'm moving things in and out of there, I'm reducing the inflammation, and I'm ready for tomorrow. And then I did the same thing on Sunday and Sunday night, and then this morning. So, yeah. Anka says, hell yeah, I was doing cars in the plane and train. I love it. I don't know if any of you have seen, but I in fact, last time I did Masters Nationals in 2021, I took a video doing all my mobility stuff in the airport. So that's how my teammates found me actually before our flight. So I love it. Be opportunistic with it. The more, I think we talked about this last week with Alex, like the more you're willing to, and you're okay with how you might appear to other people, willing to look a little weird, the better off you'll be. Because the alternative is what a lot of people do. They might walk, but a lot of times in the airport, plane, train, whatever, you're just kind of sitting there because you don't want to be that weirdo. But if I can get a bunch of reps of cars in, or some isometrics or some stretches, in addition to just getting some healthy inputs that help me adapt, I'm also probably going to be more comfortable during the flight or the train ride. So I know for me, I don't like to sit still. Sometimes it's hard not to on the plane, right? But if I do stuff ahead of time, it's like I don't start to feel uncomfortable until a little bit later on into the flight. So highly recommend. That's like I joke about like life hacks because it's like you have to do stuff. It doesn't make it easier, but um, if you can start to incorporate this stuff opportunistically throughout the day, throughout your life, that's when real gains will come. Um, Again, I like having it built into your training, built into like a bedtime or a morning routine, so it's guaranteed you get it. But then you get to just drop in, more reps throughout the day wherever possible. Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff. Cool. Anybody have any other questions, thoughts, or anything? Um, and Lynn, it looks like, yeah, when you're not sick anymore, you'll start the preseason program. Excited to start. I love it. I love it. Um, yeah, great stuff. Let me see. I got plenty of stuff I could talk about. You know what I do? I get these ideas, or based on talking with people, or I just wake up in the night with ideas and then I write them down. Um, so, this is good. So, let's see. Um, so a good quote from well, again, one of my mentors, Andreo Spina, Andreo Spina. Guy is just so smart, and he popularized cars, and that's where I learned a lot about isometrics from him. What he said was a lot of people confuse longevity training with performance training. So people kind of assume, like, oh, I'm training for a sport. I'm training for my performance in this sport. That's going to keep me healthy. And that's not true. Sports are something that we just invented. They're not inherently good for us. Movement and exercise and challenging ourselves physically, that is good, but there are so many variables and ways we can get injured, and we do repetitive exercises and movements that maybe are not so awesome for humans to be doing as much. So training to get really good at certain things isn't necessarily the best thing you can do. But we can train smarter, and we can do things like some of these recovery workouts. We can improve our mobility so that our body is better able to handle the stressors of the sport. So I think that's a helpful idea and just reminder that yes, I'm playing this sport, and people get frustrated because like, why do I have pain? Why am I injured? Why am I sore? It's like, well, the sport itself is not inherently a good thing for the human body. Sports generally aren't, uh, but what was I going to say? Oh, but ultimate can be even like the volume of play in like a club ultimate season is pretty ridiculous, and most people are doing separate things like other leagues or beach tournaments, etc. So that's where a big part of the training, a big part of my philosophy is we want to make the body as resilient as possible, the tendons and the joints as strong and able as possible, so that we can handle more of that stress that is coming our way. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and so Anka says, I've been feeling worse on the field. I have kind of stopped doing my strength training due to focusing all my energy to frisbee training and conditioning. The coming weeks, I'm going to refocus on strength at least once a week because I feel myself being way more tired on the field. Yes. So this is kind of a natural challenge, and that doesn't make it easier to deal with. But yeah, when our playing volume and intensity starts to go up, it's hard to have the energy and focus for the other types of training. And this is where, yeah, during the heart of the season, you're not going to want to do as much intense strength training as the off season. That's when we kind of build up our strength and muscle. But we want to do like once a week is a solid amount because that helps you maintain some of your strength and muscle mass throughout a long season, but not so much that it breaks you down. And that's where the strength training you're doing specifically is also important because if you're going in and say you have a practice on Monday and a practice on Wednesday and a game whenever, and you're going in Tuesday and smashing yourself with heavy squats and deadlifts, etc., probably not the best. right? So we want to think about like what is the minimal effective dose? What can I do to get some of the benefits of strength training without breaking my body down? And that's going to be different for everyone. The more you've been strength training regularly prior to the season, the more you're going to be able to handle. But yeah, a lot of athletes kind of go at it with like, I just going to crush myself in the gym, and then it becomes really difficult to sustain that. Um, Partly also just the life of being in the wall. Ah, in the wall or cup or same idea. This is zone, right? But for sure also strength training going down. So instead of trying the strength stuff, I'll get my base from my gym training back and then work upon it. Yeah, so it depends how you play as well. So, sometimes you're going to end up playing both ways. Sometimes, for me, I tend to be a little bit more of a defensive specialist, which means like I really have to be ready to go all out all the time. Not that you don't on offense, but um, some of it depends. Some of it's a little different. If you're an O-line handler, sometimes your season isn't going to be quite as intense on the body, um, particularly if you don't turn it over. So, um, but yes, so I think the gym training, like you mentioned, Anka, is a good idea. Get your base back. Doesn't have to be super intense. Another thing I like to think about with this is in the middle of training, in the middle of like you're playing tournaments, you've got practices, etc. There's not as much energy and usually not as much motivation. It's just harder to go and do other things when you have so much energy that's going into ultimate. So when you get in the gym, it's okay to do things that you like. What lifts do you like the most? What type of strength training do you like the most? And do some of that to just get it like a mental break. It does not have to be perfect, particularly if you've been putting in the time with your training. So, yeah, there's room. The more consistent we are, the more room there is for variability and flexibility. Yep. So that's very important. That's very important. Yeah. I'll take a little breather here, but if anyone else has thoughts, questions, I'm happy to help troubleshoot here. This is cool, right? I'm here. I'm happy to chat about whatever. I think there's another. I'll look back through some of my other ideas. Um, yeah. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got here. Um, Oh, Lenny says, I mean, just the 60-yard pole chases add up if you play defense. Absolutely. Like, that's so funny. I was just, who was I just talking about? I did an onboarding call for Ultimate Mobility Pro for my beta testers today, and I was talking to someone who has the athletic ability and the skill, and it's just a matter of kind of burning out over the course of the day, over the course of the tournament. And I was talking about like at tryouts, how I was feeling and how one of my goals is I can run 100% screaming down the field on the pole, um, and really mess up that initial first couple throws and really make the offense think about it, but then continue to play the point with max intensity. And I see that so much in Ultimate, and it's difficult because if you're playing a lot of points, you're going to have fatigue. But I see so much in Ultimate, even at high levels, with players clearly trying to conserve energy because they're worried about getting too fatigued, and then they miss out on opportunities. Like, yes, a lot of the times people are really are running hard down, but sometimes they're not. And I'm like, if you're at a high level team and you're at a high level tournament, you should be getting your ass down there. Excuse my French. Is my picture? Oh, there we go. I thought I froze for a second. Um, because it really messes with people, even high level players. Like, in a practice here with like some very experienced, masters level players, if you sprint down there and you're there 2 seconds before they expect anyone and they look up to just center the disc and it's not there, they might throw a turnover, or at least it's going to stall the offense out a little bit. But yeah, that's a great example of like defense. If you really take pride in that, you need to be in great shape and your body needs to be ready to go all the time. You're starting a point off with a sprint. So, yeah, yeah, it does add up. It does add up. I think Alex is hopping on in a moment here. Perfecto. So that'll be fun. We'll get into some more of that training. Brock says, when I feel soreness from strength training in the gym, I find it's hard to do conditioning training during that time. Do you have any recommendations regarding working around leg soreness? Um, yes. So some of that does require a little bit of experimentation to see like what will kind of settle out. You know, if you're a little sore and you go do some conditioning, if you warm up really well, how does it feel? How do you feel the next day? Because if you find that if you're pretty sore and you go do conditioning and you're just cooked and then feel like crap the next day, we probably don't want to go as hard in the gym. So one thing I would look at is big picture, like what's your biggest priority? If you really want to be working on the conditioning, I would dial back the intensity of the strength training a little bit. So say you're going like 90% effort in the gym with the strength training, maybe you can go 70 or 80% effort. You're still going to get some benefits there, but not have as much soreness. Or you can hit your normal weights and drop the reps in half, something like that, so that you have more in the tank for the conditioning. Um, if you don't really want to, you know, dial back the strength training, then with the conditioning, I would recommend just like really solid, thorough warm up because that's what I found is that like I've had some issues with like a pulled hamstring, some other issues with if I'm going hard and I have muscular soreness. But if you get a very solid, thorough warm up in prior to doing that, um, you're going to be much less likely to hurt yourself. You're also going to understand your limits a little better. So as you start warming up gradually, you're going to be able to feel like, okay, how hard can I push today? And if the legs feel really heavy and like it's just not going to happen, then you can dial back. Um, but yeah, so one example too is I'll sometimes do like a test shuttle run, which people probably don't do because I'll be like, oh, you know what? I'll just run like, 50 yards and back 2 times a little bit hard and see how my body feels. But you can start relatively easy. So like do something that is going to build up some fatigue in your legs without you having to go fast or change direction really hard. And it's kind of like a test. So warm up a little bit, do that, see how that feels. Um, and then if you don't feel comfortable going faster than that or going harder, then just do some reps there. So similar to the strength training, if you're doing some conditioning work and let's say you can't push max intensity, go submaximal, go 70%, maybe do some extra reps in, um, and just generally feel good because getting that blood pumping through your legs is still going to be good for recovery, assuming you're not creating too much stress. And what often creates the most stress and the most soreness on the field is the sharp change of direction, the deceleration. Yeah. So I think we talked about this last week a little bit, but another nice thing that you can do for conditioning. So let's say you're pretty sore and you want a little bit less stressful conditioning day, but still get out on the field. Thorough warm up and then tempo runs. So you're going 60, 70% of your max effort. Kind of sprint, just work on your mechanics, stay relatively relaxed. Nice, easy walk back, repeat. So that way you can really modify the intensity. You're not going to be stopping short. You're not going to be worrying about too much deceleration. So that's a good question, Brock. Hopefully that makes sense. But as I said, some of it requires experimenting. You'll kind of see what feels good, what doesn't. For me personally, I generally know like if I'm going to condition either later today or tomorrow, and I'm in the gym now, I'm not going to push to failure in my lifts. I'm not going to push a huge amount of weight. I can still get myself working fairly hard, but particularly in like preseason or regular season, especially, my thought is how can I ensure that I have the highest quality work on the field, whether it's conditioning, practice, speed. That's kind of the priority. Yeah, you're welcome. That's a great question. That's important. It's important because that's where people run into so much trouble, like managing soreness. You can also think about um, with the mobility work, with some of the isometrics, some of the cars, and some of the more intense stuff that we do. Um, you can think about like a bank account, and this is not a new concept. You've probably heard it before, but think about like on that bedtime routine, on when you're doing your daily routine, when you're doing the stuff for your priorities, you are making deposits in your account. You're making deposits every single day, and you're building interest off of that. So the more consistently you do it, the better you're going to become. It's not even linear. It's going to start to like really add up, because the healthier you get, the better your connective tissue and joints become, the more efficient all of your other training is going to get. And then you go and you play a tournament or a hard practice or whatever it is, and then you're making a withdrawal from your account, right? So you're adding stress, which you then need to recover from, and that's okay. That's a natural part of it. What is challenging is that throughout the season we make a lot of big withdrawals, right? So we need to make sure we're making as many deposits as possible, and it's not interfering with the withdrawals. So again, having that bedtime routine or your morning routine where you're guaranteeing a good amount of that recovery work and improving your joint and tendon health is huge. And then throughout the off season, building up your resilience, your strength, your mobility, so that you can make those withdrawals. And by the end of the season, your bank account isn't empty. Or by the end of the tournament, your bank account isn't empty. All right, so that is what's really important. And I think through that so that that mindset helps me like immediately shift into deposit mode once I've made withdrawals. So I go to practice or I go to tryout and I get home and I'm like, how can I shift this back the other way? How can I shift into recovery mode as soon as possible? When I'm feeling great, that's when I most want to do it. I get back and I'm like, you know what? I feel pretty good after this, rather than just getting complacent and thinking, I'll just relax. That's okay. You can do that. But my mindset is, I'm going to use this energy that I have and this motivation being fired up from playing to do some more of that good work, and not in a way that's going to break me down. So it's not like I'm going to go hit the gym really hard. It's I'm going to do the mobility work that builds on itself and builds up my bank account. Yeah. So that's all. That's the kind of stuff I think about. I think it helps, and I hopefully that makes sense to you all. Lenny says, I really have to get better at mailing it into the gym. Yeah, I should highlight that and just post that and be like, yes, I need to improve at changing directions, and it's just so much more stress next to practices and tournaments. Totally. And again, the gym can help. So like when you are strong and you have the ability to create a lot of force, then when you practice changing directions, you have more force to produce. But that practice does have to happen. And at this stage in the season, you definitely want to be getting that in. And then if you're doing heavy strength work, that's going to potentially detract from your ability in the short term to be getting better at changing directions. Yeah. So mailing it in the gym, like what I've heard when I first heard of the concept, the idea was like punch the clock workouts, right? So if you have a job where you're working hourly and you punch the clock, it's like you just get in, do your shift, get out. You don't need to be breaking records. It doesn't need to be anything special. Even though there's the tendency, like we want to work really hard, we want to feel really accomplished, like we're really making gains. But if we do that every time, we're just not going to have the resources to recover or to work on other skills. Okay, so like personally, I know that the most intense thing I can pretty much do on my body, especially for my priorities like knees and ankles and Achilles, is hard change of direction work. If I'm doing really hard cutting work, really hard change of direction, and then some jumping mixed in with that, I know that I'm going to be a little sore the next day. My knee is going to be a little swollen. My Achilles might be a little sore, and I'm just going to need to like shift gears, make some deposits, make sure that I'm okay the next few days. Yeah. So I'm not telling people not to work hard in the gym, but especially if you look at your priorities and you've been doing strength training fairly consistently, um, you can start to shift. So yeah, if you're conditioning or your speed or your change of direction or some of these other skills are the limiting factor, then you really want to focus on those things. And especially if you're now in the process of a season where you're playing a lot, um, the strength training you just want to do enough to maintain at this point. Unless you have gaps in the season, like sometimes we have like a month or two where it's much lower volume, then you can get a little bit more opportunistic in the gym, but we don't want to get used to annihilating ourselves. Another quick point that the guy made on a call today was I don't know if it was a documentary or a video of um, like an elite Olympic level athlete. I'll table this for a moment. Hey, hey, are you can you hear me? Ah, I can't hear you. Unbelievable. There he goes. I'll come back to the Olympic level thing. And Brock says, yeah, you find the fatigue while playing because of a hard workout, especially as we move closer to the season, is too harmful to be worth the gains. Right, right. Brock, I'm glad you appreciate it. I'm glad that makes sense. It's hard, like it can be a tough pill to swallow. But yeah, when you kind of weigh like what am I getting out of making gains? If I bump up my squat or my deadlift or my bench like another 10 pounds, or I do a few more reps, what is that getting me? It's hard to know. It's hard to quantify, but it's exciting. Versus like if I can change direction and accelerate a little bit better, that can have massive implications. Um, yeah. And in addition to just like feeling good. So I was talking earlier about being at the tryout yesterday and like I was so excited to just like do a 4 line drill and cut dump and do an in cut and do a deep cut. And I was so excited to like go as hard as I could with every step because my body felt good. Because it felt so good, I was able to get so much more out of practice and have so much more fun. And I think thinking about like how much better could I feel and what do I need to do to make that happen? And usually at this point it's not extra hard strength training. Yeah. I know, right? Right? Classic Alex mic problems. I don't know why that keeps happening. Let me pull this up. For anyone who doesn't have access to this, I have this in my Ultimate Mobility community. Um, but I wanted to share it in case I don't know, Brock, if you're in there, if you see that. But so this is a doc Ultimate Mobility sample. So I have a tab for warm ups, and I have like a 1 week sample of Body Maintenance Mobility Master. So that has some of the other mobility work and some power, speed, acceleration, conditioning. So it's kind of a sample of a bunch of different training. So anyone on here, if you don't have access to this, you can check that out. And yeah, that's hopefully very helpful. And here we go again. Hey.
What a morning. Holy smokes.
Hey,
Unbelievable. How you doing?
good man. Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Nice.
good. I just woke up.
It's all good. Hey, I
Fucking,
get that sleep. We were talking about sleep, so you're just, you know, you're walking the walk.
it was a good sleep. That's true. That is
Hey,
true.
that's good.
I
That's
gotta, I set the alarm now. The alarm repeating every Monday. And I let my friends borrow my mic, so
ah,
don't have that either. But that's okay. For
sounds
one.
good though. Yeah, how's it going? How's the week?
Good. Good. We had a good practice Saturday. I discovered a new hill, so I'm about to
Yes.
I'm gonna go over to that today and check it out.
Yes.
Cause it's like I was just walking around Boulder yesterday and stumbled upon it in this park. But it looks like a fucking beast. Like it's steep and long. But I was like, wow, that's incredible. Like that's all you really want. So
I know, man.
I'll take some videos.
I love it. I realized I think it was last Monday because I thought I might have told you, but there's a hill on a field I go to, but it's really short. It's like steep, but like 12
Is that
yards.
the one you took videos at?
Yeah, yeah. So I think it was last Monday I got out and I was like feeling decent, did some throws, and I was like I did yeah, like triple broad jumps up the hill and it was just
Yeah,
so fun.
those look sick though.
Anka actually commented and made a great point. Like when you're doing that, you really have to get that forward lean and you get so much ankle and knee and hip bend and like that knee over
Yeah,
toe position.
yeah,
So important.
yeah. No, 100%. 100%.
So
Yeah, the outdoor bouldering. Yeah, I went climbing. It
nice.
wasn't outdoor bouldering, but I am in the sense outdoor bouldering because I'm living the boulder lifestyle outdoors.
Literally. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a good climbing session in. I want to get to the point where when I climb, my forearms don't get blasted. Like, they honestly, this time it was way less, but they still, like, you like, they feel sore
Yeah.
after for a
Has that
few
affected your
days.
throwing at all?
No,
That's good.
no, no,
That's
it
good.
hasn't. Yeah. Yeah, it's really not that bad. It's just like when you, like, yeah, you just feel it for a bunch of days after. But yeah, so that was good. Saturday, I decided to do a lift after my, cause like I forgot to run after practice, and I want to do like some tempos like after practice, and it was kind of an easier practice. It was a little bit lighter, so I did a lift that day
Okay.
after, which was
I
kind
like
of
it.
nice. Yeah, I was like, get it in there. I've been walking around a bunch too. I've just been like, I don't know. Well, okay, so my restaurant, Salt, there was a fire there.
Oh,
So not wasn't too bad, like no one got hurt, and it was like in like a vent or something, but it's closed for a little bit, so I have not much to do at all. Like I really got some time on my hands, so so I'm just like walking around a bunch. I take the dog like yesterday. I was just walking around like the whole day, which is fun and like its own kind of
yeah.
workout rest day. I would say like an active rest day because it was a lot. I probably walked like 8 miles yesterday at
That's
least.
dude, that's no joke. Like you can get sore from that if you're not used to like I mean that's
No, my glute was sore. Like yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking about it while I did it. Like I should just walk like all around Boulder one because I basically did. I must have. I walked so far yesterday and played some disc golf and like did all of it.
Sweet. Hey, that's great stuff. It's funny you mentioned the lift. I was telling the people on here about we had Masters tryouts
Oh,
Saturday and Sunday, and I went and Sunday after Sunday, so after the second day, I got home and I was like helped a little with the baby, and I was like, my body feels really good, and I haven't really lifted any weights, so I did kind of like a short, small lift at home because it's like you get that strength stimulus. So I think like if you're feeling decent,
no,
it doesn't
exactly.
hurt to do a lift after. Like you're not gonna break records, but it's not about that. It's
And
about
I was like, I'll probably just take a rest day tomorrow anyway, so I might as well like work hard today. Like we had worked kind of hard at practice, but I don't know. I didn't feel like I just felt fine. So yeah, I was like, might as well. And then yesterday, just walk in like cars and that kind of stuff.
dude. That's a good day.
Yeah, it was a really good day. And then I discovered that hill. So today I'm gonna go. Today I'm gonna go run the hill.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that'd be fun.
What you been doing? How you been entertaining the chats today?
Ooh, we've been chatting about mobility, isometrics, bedtime routines. So great stuff. I was telling him. So I realized this was my first like organized ultimate that I played in since August
Yeah,
last year.
how did it go?
It was great. It was like, it was a little wet and rainy, so like some of my throws were like a little rusty, but hucks felt good. But physically amazing. I mean, I feel great today after 2 days, and like, every drill we did 4 line drill as part of the warm up, and I was just like going all out. Like I was talking about when you feel good, when you feel in shape and your body feels good, like you just want to push harder. It's such a good feeling. So,
Who runs the like? Who's running the tryouts?
Michael Panna,
Yeah.
a lot of the old Philly guys. So a lot of the guys I played with actually 2016 with Patrol. when we had a solid year at nationals. So Pana, Jake Rainwater.
That's so cool.
Who else is? He wasn't there because he was with Surge, but Dave Bear. Trying to think.
Dave Bear was with Surge, or Rainwater was.
Dave Bear was. I think he was coaching Surge
He
in
coaches
Indy. So
Surge. Okay.
and I think he's dealing with an injury now. But Dave Bear is going to be there. Yeah. Leon. I don't know if you know Leon Chow.
A little bit. I didn't play with him, but yeah, legends. That's so
So,
cool.
dude, yeah, they're Dave Brandoff.
Yeah, yeah. These are like
Brando.
all my childhood guys.
Dude, yeah, we were the same. Me and Brando played together at LM my senior year.
Really? Wow.
We were the same class. Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
That's
So
crazy. Was
he's a
that
home.
just open tryouts or?
Yeah, so that's open tryout. So they're gonna have two teams. So they're gonna have join or die, and then they're gonna have like basically a B Masters team because
Whoa.
there's a lot of talented people coming out.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. So that's where I'm like, if that works out, I can do that in club. Then, I was thinking like maybe we have a little clinic or something in Denver, uh,
100%.
like before or after Masters
Dude, we should
National.
get like a gym or something, or you want to do it outside?
Dude, no, I was thinking like either before or after. I would love to like run a mobility or training clinic. Like we can
Yeah,
kind of
like
partner
at a
up.
gym.
I mean, what's cool is people from all over are going to be in town. So
Yeah, yeah,
we can get
100%.
people like signing up
Yeah,
and
100%. We should think of that because I'm sure we could find a space to rent for the day, or we could do it outside.
yeah. Yeah,
What
we
are
could.
you thinking?
I was thinking either one. I mean, obviously, if you
Or
get
like both, you know?
could do both. Obviously, if you get like a good sized gym, like then you don't have to worry about weather.
Yeah, that's true.
But I was like, I could create a registration and like, not too expensive, but enough to like make it, you
Yeah,
know,
worthwhile to like putting a lot of time into, for
yeah,
sure.
man, because I love freaking in person stuff. Like I could really
Yeah,
go
me too.
go ham on it.
Yeah, for US Open. Wait, you're thinking playing club too?
Yeah, yeah. So I think I'm gonna play mixed club this year because
Nice.
there's a team in the area. So I wanted to play open, but I was thinking I'll play mixed club, open masters,
Yeah,
um, if it works out.
yeah.
So that's yeah, which means
We
I'll
Yeah, we need to do that for sure. We should get on that for
I was
USO.
thinking
Wait, for not
for,
for
for
Masters.
masters. So we'd see if you're around that time. I think it's like the 18th to 20th ish of July,
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm 18th to 20th. Yeah, I'm around.
somewhere around there. So I was gonna talk to Mikey too. I figured he'd like to be involved.
Definitely.
Um, and yeah, I feel like we can get a pretty good turnout for that.
Can we get some ideas in the chat, please? Thank you.
Oh yeah, what do you want to see?
What do you think we
I mean,
should do?
I got my ideas. I have like documents from all these like seminars I've run, but like
Uh huh.
if we get some good requests, um, and I can create some resources online that like everyone who shows up, you get access to.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like it'd be cool to give people access to like what kind of resources are you thinking?
I've been trying to create some different like isometric tendon guides, like create your own how to like create your own warm up to fit your needs. Even like we were talking like bedtime mobility routines, strength and power workouts for ultimate. Like, I feel like that would be. But again, if people have ideas or stuff that you really want, or like what would be
Yeah,
most helpful in person, like even people who are in my communities and stuff, or like you've been following me and Alex, like what's the stuff that you're like, man, if I could get some like instruction in person, that would be more helpful, you know?
yeah. I feel like if we like rip through like a few things while you're there, like we could even just like do something like do a full warm up, do a field workout, or do
Oh yeah,
and like a mobility workout, like do a mobility and then like a field workout.
that would be awesome. Yeah, doing some hands-on, like just like
Yeah,
go through some stuff so like you show up and you get to like physically do everything.
yeah, that would be cool because we could do a warm up, mobility, like a field workout, and then a cool down, like Ankh saying,
Yeah.
and then you just and like rep thing like don't do a lot of things, but do some things like a bunch, so that
Yeah.
people can actually like get some experience doing them.
Yeah,
Because
and
I
I
feel like the
can.
goal is to like get them to start doing stuff, and see that, show them that they'll like it, and then also they, it's the added bonus that you're there and can help
Right.
with
Yeah, like
questions.
I think like looking at some of the exercises that people typically struggle with, doing things like passive range holds for people who know that, like that's the
Yeah,
stuff where
yeah,
that's
yeah,
like the
yeah.
light bulb goes on and you're like, "Oh man, like I don't have control of this. What do I do?"
Yeah, like some of that mobility stuff, 100% passive range holds, and some of like even just not like the pail rails, but even just like the pails, I guess. Just like some,
Yeah, just the more
just like
simple ISOs,
yeah,
walking through that. And
cars. I would say every car, like,
absolutely.
because that was like the base for me, and I don't know if how many
Mhm.
people actually take the time to do that, but like watching those full videos, and like doing them with you was like, I don't know. I remember
Yeah.
doing it, so it helped a lot.
I've found I think people who like watch those videos all the way through get so much more out of it because like they're actually like really ingraining it.
We should also just fucking do a sick workout and like film it all. You
Dude,
know
that
what
would
I
be
mean?
sick. Yeah.
I think we should just do like a sick
You
workout.
get like a
Like,
drone maybe or like
no, yes, Mikey has a drone, and we just
hell
and
yeah.
we just rip. Because I've been watching. Yeah, like I wanna soon. I'm gonna start like a full on like YouTube channel and like really get after it. And I've been watching like different like channels that I think kind of could fit the vibe, but like like a little bit of talking, us just like ripping a workout with like a montage of like sick drone footage and stuff, or like
That would be
throws,
awesome.
or doing like self catch and stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
what you have, and then just doing like that, and then just talking over, like talking not over it, but maybe like talking before or after it and stuff. You could make a sick video, and
I think
we could
I
do a
think it'd
sick
be
workout.
yeah. Well, and then what we could even do is like basically like everyone who signs up, everyone who's like signs up and pays basically like gets that video, gets access to that. Or like maybe you put out like teasers on YouTube and then everyone else
Yeah,
gets the full thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, doing like I feel like doing a like speed power workout would be a lot of fun.
So
Work on
much fun.
jumping, some sprinting.
Because we could, I think what we would do is like we would couple like like a workout like that with some like frisbee stuff. You know what I mean? Like really intertwine it, like doing some like patterns or something. You know what I mean?
I love
And
that.
like,
Yeah,
because we could mix both of our like, we could bring your like actual workout and then more of my like frisbee sense to it, and just
exactly.
combine it into like this insane workout. You
Yeah,
know,
dude.
that would be so much fun. Yeah, so
I
that's
think
what we should do.
I think
That's
that'd
what
be
we should
great.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would love that. I've been itching to do more in-person stuff and like if there's facilities that are available, like I know you have
We
to
could
come.
find something. Summit
Yeah.
has like I mean, Summit, we have a partner for, I don't know if they're like our trainers or whatever, but like they've been coming. I bet they even have some sort of space. Like, I'd
Yeah.
have to look into it, but that we could use. Also, like, we could figure it out. Mikey has a nice gym actually in his garage.
That's true too. Yeah.
So
Yeah, like
depending on like how many people, because like I like doing a lot of people, but like my vibe recently and what I've been trying to push for more like in my own life is like smaller groups.
yeah.
Like a bunch of people feels like I'm like, especially if it's kid, it feels like I'm like babysitting sometimes because it's like half of
Yeah.
them don't want to be there. You're like trying to figure out how to cater to like these kids that like you're trying to do a drill, but like half of them they don't care, like half of them do care, and you're trying to like figure it all out. And you also don't get this like the same like impact I feel like with them. Like I really like working like with 1 to like 5 kids. I don't know what like the max is. I haven't really played around with like what the range is to where like I start to lose the one-on-one interaction with everyone that I'm working with, you
Right.
know? So I feel like that kind of stuff is cool. And then like what I also like about that is like you only get the people who like really want to be there. You know what I mean?
True. True.
Because for me, I'm like, like a lot of the frisbee stuff we do, it's like fine, and you just go on, and if they don't really want to be there, it's okay. Like you just ignore it and focus on the people who want to be there. But if I could only have the people that want to be there, like that's my and like numbers give you some freedom to do stuff, but
Right. I
The
think
impact is so big with like smaller people, you know.
that is true. I just wouldn't want to, like, for example, I mean, I've taught, groups of 30, 40, 50 people effectively. And it depends. It's like this isn't necessarily a private lesson. I feel like because it's kind of like for now, a one-time thing, I'd want to make
Yeah,
sure, and
you
so
don't
many
want to cut everyone
people in the
off.
area. Also, because it's like masters, like you're gonna get a lot of like experienced people who are really serious about like
Yeah,
making the most of it.
yeah,
But we could potentially have like, hey, like first
that's
2 hours,
yeah,
first 2 hours are like, the people who kind of paid the whatever rate, and then like you can, if you want to go all in, it's like double, and then you get access to like the private session afterwards.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. I mean, because we can always see like, I guess what the timing. Because would you do this like the day after the tournament or the day before, or like what are you thinking?
I was thinking maybe after, just because like people often stay for a bit after, and like maybe they don't want to work out before the tournament, depending on their serious level. Um, I think I might also
Yeah,
have a,
I like that. You kind of filter out the non-hardos if you do something after.
right, right. So you get people, yeah, stay in the day after, and then like also, I mean, for some people that's their main event of the season. So if they're masters, or it's kind of like a tune-up for if they're going to club series, and like people might be, usually people are pretty hungry after falling short, which everyone is except for a few.
And,
So
and a lot of it can be like framing. Okay, it's like you're pissed off now because you lost.
it's
Like
too bad.
framing like what the path ahead is going to look like into how you're gonna move forward from that. Yeah, that could be really cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel
because you
like
could just see how many people are signing up, and then what times we want to do. Because I think the other thing is like for me, when you do a big group, right? Like if you have like 50 kids, like you're gonna go do like an all day thing, right? Like I was gonna like I'm gonna go teach when I on that Europe trip when I'm going to that city in Brussels. They
Mhm.
wanted me to do, or not in Brussels, the city in Belgium. They wanted me to do like some mini camps. And like their idea is initially is like a super long mini camp with like 50 kids. And I'm like, honestly, that doesn't sound like fun to me because that's what happens. You get a bunch of kids and then they give you this long time. And then it's like doesn't feel where I'm like if you broke up if you just divide those kids evenly, like I'll work the whole day. I'll
Right.
work like 8 hours or whatever, 10 hours in a day. But if you give me like 1 to 2 hours with a small group of kids,
Hmm.
like I can get way more out with those kids. You know what I mean? Than if I'm in a big group doing like all this stuff. Like if you give me like 1 to 2 hours with like 5 kids, and then the next 1 to 2 hours with the next five, like depending on like how much time you have to like break up the initial people who like signed up,
Right.
I think you just like for me that's like for me especially this is different too because it's with kids, but I've just been thinking
Right.
about it recently. Like I just get it's just like is way more exciting of a prospect to me.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think this definitely would be different. Like I've been working with teams a lot, like adult teams a lot more in the last few years. And so like having a bigger number of people that are like used to organizing themselves and are much more attentive, because like I've worked with high schoolers and even college, and like there is a significant difference where like the level of focus and attentiveness is so much lower compared to the adult teams.
Right, because you work adults, I don't work. Like I just had this adult guy hit me up for like lessons because I posted a story, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of hesitant. I'm like, I don't know, I don't know
It's
if the
different. Yeah.
if the adults did. Like I'm like, you gotta figure it out, man. I'm here to help the kids. Like the
Yeah,
adults,
and
like,
that's, you want to have your niche too. But
hey
yeah,
Lynn,
I think with this, like especially if you have people, people are buying in, and for kids, often it's like someone else is kind of like setting it up for them or paying, and like there just isn't the same investment.
uh
I
huh,
think this, like if we, make it decently big, more people can do it. It's financially, pretty nice,
yep,
and
yep.
then and people should be able to get a lot out of it. Like we can decide to
We
cap.
could rip a sick field workout with a
Dude,
bunch of
and that
people.
is, and the mobility stuff is fun. If you have a
Do
good number,
mobility before,
and like if you
yeah,
have a good number, like it's fun to see the differences in people because like what's cool is you
Yeah.
get a big group and I've done this and you do
Yeah.
different things and like you're going to be bad at some stuff but good at some stuff compared to other people. So it's fun to be able to compare and contrast. And then if you have enough
Yeah.
people, you also get more like questions.
Yeah, and you can do the stuff where, because I think it's super helpful to have people for a lot of the like range stuff. Like this one that you do where you're like here and you're up on your knee and you're like pushing down. Like
Yep.
if you have someone to like do that with you, like as the weight, you know what I'm saying? Like they're
Yeah.
pushing you and you're resisting them. Like I feel like that's really helpful because a lot of those
Right.
isometrics, if you can just get another person to help you and kind of figure out what the pressure that they need to apply is, it's
Right.
good.
And say you have like even 30 or 40 people, but you
Right,
like
just partner.
partner people
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
That works really well. And then you
Yeah,
can switch.
and rip some mobility, rip some, and then do like a light, like because people will be tired, but like some light like field stuff or whatever,
Yeah. I
like
mean,
before, like the power, like you're saying. I think that's a good one. Like
yeah.
because then it's not too much. Like you're just doing the mobility and then like a little bit of like power.
And if there's some pattern stuff and some other things that you want to work on too, it's like translate what we're working on now into this drill. Like we're working on this lateral power, this step, whatever it is.
Oh, that's exactly what we could do because if you were doing something like with a movement, then I could just make a drill for like,
Exactly.
including that and like how it would be used in ultimate, like an ultimate space.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Dude, I
All
think,
right, sign up now in the chat.
hell
First,
yeah.
first chat gets a free invite. Ankh
Come,
is coming from Europe.
there you go. Let's go. Well, that's the other
It,
thing is I'm not expecting people to come from like all over, but I want it to be worth their while if they do, which is why I'm like, I'll create whatever, and
yeah,
make it happen.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, Ankh, you're right. It is in Gent. That is correct. That's why I'm like so hyped too, because I'm playing with this club Gentle, which I guess is in Gent. I don't know.
Oh, that's
What's that?
exciting.
What's that place called? Come on, can you tell me, or do I have to look it up? Is it just called Gent? It is. Oh, but it's okay. It's with a H.
Hmm.
Wow, it looks. Dude. I'm like, I might move here one day. I swear to God, and I haven't even been here yet. And just knowing that they have ultimate and they, if you pay for my flight, if they have ultimate and that it's so big because they have like they do this thing where it's like a soccer club. Like they have like this huge like club like Gent
That's
Ultimate.
sick.
There's a video online that I was watching. It was a little too long for me. Maybe I should probably watch it though, all of it, because it's like they have this huge club and they have like 500 kids in it or something.
That's sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is really sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. If so anyone on here, or if you're watching the recording, whatever, let us know if you are somewhere else and you're like either maybe you're not going to be able to come at all to if we do this, but maybe you're on the fence. Like, what is something that would really tempt you to come? Like anything specific, anything you really want to work on. I mean, like I'll dive deep. I have a client who one time was like, listen, if you want to just like work on ankles for an hour with me, I'm cool. So like we can do a certain joint, we can dive deep into like lateral change of direction, into like tendons, whatever. Um, yeah, I'm all ears. All ears. We're
I like the cars, dude. I feel like the cars are so big.
and we can do what's nice is I can go through a whole like here are the cars and then here's how you can progress them.
BFD. I was gonna play with them too.
Nice.
Yeah. But they wanted to prioritize their younger guys on their team.
Yeah.
I was like, that's great. You should do that.
That's
But I'm gonna beat you now.
right.
I can't wait to explore the world of European Ultimate.
Dude, that'll be cool.
I don't know really, like I've never really been in that I don't know. I haven't been in that space before.
We got a lot of people in the community in Europe. I actually did a call with someone today. It's
We're gonna have way more once Mobility Missionary gets across the pond.
That's right, baby. I'm about to order some more shirts. So I'll send you something. Boom, ankle prep. You can do that. That's big.
Yeah, the ankle one is good. I still have my left just has way more scar tissue. Like it does not move as freely, you know? Like through
Yeah.
the bigger circle. Like it's a lot more
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Locked
Hey,
up.
I know. Yeah, Anka and actually Lynn too. They've crushed some of the ankle stuff that I put out, and I think that's helped. So, um, oh, might do a warm up for the disc in camp this year. So I forget if I told you all, Alex, I may have told you, but when I was with Patrol, we went and like ran a clinic for Devil, the youth team, the
Uh-huh.
YCT team, and I ran warm ups for the kids, and I like, I did a real thorough like 25-minute plus warm up.
They
Like
were dead.
three kids threw up. And I was like,
Bro.
what are you kids like? You guys are like 16, 17 years old. Like this is, and I'm doing it with them. And it wasn't,
Hard O'Brien shows up to devil practice, dude, and just kills the kids in warm up.
no, but it was, why am I blanking on his name? Coached Empire,
Charlie Nunez.
Nunez. So Nunez was one of our coaches that year for Patrol, and he was working with Devil as well. And
Yeah.
afterwards, he was like, "Hey, can you make a video of that warm up? Because like the kids really want it, and I want to be able to share it." And like it was one of my first Ultimate YouTube videos, and I just like
Ah.
simply put together a video, and it got like 1,000 views in a few
Uh-huh.
weeks, and like
Uh-huh.
9 years ago.
Uh-huh.
But it was all because I showed up and just like these kids were like, "What the hell is happening right now?"
Ugh. Did I have the kids do like 12 lunges? Because I have the kids I do private lessons with do a variation of the warm up. Sometimes I don't do the mobility stuff, depending on like age and how
Yeah,
serious I think, they are. Like with the older ones who are more into it, I'll just do like the full warm up.
yeah,
With the younger kids, it's just like some of the more like skips and the like I'm not doing like the ankle dorsiflexion with like the middle schoolers, but
right.
with like the older high school kids who are like really into it, I do it.
That makes
It'd
sense.
just be interesting to get your opinion on that. But I also like tone the amount of lunges back usually for some of the kids. Like I don't do 24. I usually do like 12 for some of the kids, like forward and back. So like 24 total. Yeah.
I think that makes sense. I think like you can kind of gauge sometimes kids like their attention span and like what they're
Yeah.
going to do. Depends how into it they are, but with the high schoolers, like I have them do lunges and I'm always like, listen, go with a small lunge, get bigger gradually because like the amount of times I've had high school
Yeah. Uh huh.
like and I say to them, step out slow, traveling side lunge and
Yeah.
pull their groin. I'm like, how is it like you're 16 and you cannot do a lunge without pulling a muscle?
No, these
Never,
kids,
they
these
never
these
moved.
frisbee kids, they don't know how to move. Like a lot of them, they can't do skips. I gotta
Yeah,
like I work on them with doing like skips. Like I'll do the warm up as like a part of just like the fucking lesson because I'm like,
for sure.
you should learn how to skip for sure.
Yup.
And yeah, the skipping one is good. I like like I do the lateral lunges, or I'll do that one that I sent you the video of, where I kind of do that like jump cut, because I like kids. Like you have to learn how to do that to really play ultimate. Like that, like jump cut is just
Yeah.
essential.
I mean, I had a big advantage, I think, going to ultimate with football. Like I was a running back and I was very shifty. And
Yeah,
like that, the lateral cutting and having exposure to that really helps because
yeah,
you see kids early on in ultimate and it's like they kind of run, they round their cuts, they're super upright, or they'll sort of like stop completely
yeah.
and then cut. Yeah,
I know. That's why I tell a lot of the kids, like mostly, like a lot of them we just do like frisbee stuff, but this one kid actually he wants to do more conditioning and like more working out next time, so he's gonna start doing 2 hours, and like the first hour will be like frisbee, and then we'll finish with like some conditioning. Because
that's
I'm
cool.
like, if you just like are athletic and are in good shape, and like you'll just beat people, like it won't
Yeah.
matter. Like
Oh yeah, and then you can build the skills. Yeah, if you're even at the high level, if you are ridiculously athletic and you have good instincts and you're aggressive, like you can find a place. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
so a jump cut is where you jump and then you cut.
yeah. So you can make it look like different things. I'll sometimes do like a little drill where I'll kind of attack and then cut, and then I'll just like jog in a circle, and then like come back and do it again. That
Yeah.
wasn't really a jump cut, but like I don't do it that much personally, but like the kind of like
It's just like a little hop, like what I've realized. Like even
yeah,
like the motion that I do is just like a little hop where you're not really on either of your feet because it gives you the ability to plant off either foot, and then you can go either way. And that's why I like doing that like video that I sent you because once you do it, you can go, you can plant like outside foot and go. I mean, there's no like inside outside, I guess, but you can plant and go one way, or you could like land on the same foot and go the other way. So like that's what makes it so hard.
exactly right. And you can like using arms, shoulders, eyes, like boom, and then you can do a like 1-2 where like if a lot of times you just jump,
Yeah.
push, then people get used to like, okay, wherever they push off, I'll wait for that first one. Then
Yeah.
you push, push.
And then you do the double. Exactly. And that's like when you start playing the game. And that's what I've been teaching these kids. Like it's you have to build up to just be able to like do that. And so I have them do that thing that I sent you the video of, the thing I was doing up the hill.
Yeah.
I have the kids do it because it's like such a basic for me it's like a super you see it in like all sports. Like it came up on my feed like watching it in rugby. Is big. They call it something in rugby. It's like a big thing in rugby. They call it like a drop step or kick step, and like it's something like really cool. But it's like that, and it's like a hezi. Really, it's like a hezi, and it's like
Mhm.
just like freezing your defender. Like where I think where I learned it was doing a hezi in basketball because you kind of like pick your
Yeah.
foot up and you can go either way. Um,
Hmm.
it's just super important, I think. So I get like the kids doing it.
I like that. I like how they're doing it. uh, yeah, Anka says nothing I hate more than defending someone who does rounded cuts. Cannot for the life of me keep up the whole time because the angle is so bad and annoying. It's it can be challenging, like when people do not play as you expect. Even if it's not in theory, it shouldn't be effective. Sometimes it is just because you're like, what are you doing? Why would you do that?
Oh, just freaking hypotenuse their ass. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
come on,
Cut under them. Cut under them. That's like,
I feel like
yeah.
we can't be sad about people that are rounding their cuts. That should be a good thing. Then how do we feel about people that make good cuts? We probably really hate them.
Oh, it is true though that when people are like, and this happens sometimes in like summer league where like it is a pretty high level around here and like most people really know what they're doing and some people are just like don't really follow any sort of like pattern in what they're doing and it's challenging in the sense that like they're not better than you. They don't know exactly what they're doing because of that. It's just totally unpredictable. But all you can do is be like long term they're not going to accomplish what they want.
No, I do know that. I went to like a high school. This was like a year ago, but I'll never forget because it was so embarrassing. I was at a high school practice and I mean, I didn't really warm up or anything, but there's no excuse. Like, and I was like playing in their like end zone scrimmage, and I got absolutely cooked like twice in a row. And it was because like the cadence was like normally like just like when you're playing at club because people go through their progression so quick. It's like you get like one maybe two looks as like a cutter, and then like that's it. Then you're but
Mhm.
like in high school, like I was guarding this kid at the front of the stack, and dude ran like for like 7 seconds of the stall count. And like when I'm tuned, like, cause like what I'll do is like once they make the cut and you feel like you've stopped it, then I like to like check and see what is happening with the disc. So like twice, I thought I stopped the cut. I like checked to see what's going on. The dude just like runs another way, and the point being, like, it is playing at a different speed is legit. You gotta learn it because there's no excuse because you're still getting cooked by a high schooler. It's not
Right.
you can't just go to the high schoolers. Well, you see what was happening was because actually you were cutting them a lot longer than I would normally guard. So really, it's not my fault. Like no, it was my fault. It was
That happened to
embarrassing.
me. It's
It was
true.
terrible, dude. It was terrible.
That happened to me at Summer League last year, and the guy was a good player, and it really wasn't as much. And he like was dancing and like made a couple hard cuts, and he's quick. And I shut down like literally 5 cuts in a row, and then I like turn because I'm like, all right, and
Yeah, you
jumped
gotta look.
and to look, and then he like went over and got a wide open income. Like it must have been stall 9. Like but if
Gotta
you
be.
don't expect it and you're like, well, this is not a smart thing, and you just anticipate. It's like when people jam in a throw on the sideline when you're like a foot away, and you don't expect it because you're like, well, the they should not be throwing that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's not. They still got it. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yep,
yeah. It's interesting.
it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll never forget that. That was a rough day. That was a rough day.
Yeah, Lenny said it's kind of like trying to settle in a new offensive system in a way. Yeah, yeah. That's it's always in Philly here the winter league, the winter full league they have is extremely competitive. It's like you have
Yeah.
Nationals caliber players on like five or six of like full lines on like
Yeah.
several teams, and we played, and you have to get used to the fact that like the the windows are smaller but still viable, and people are going to jam things in and they're going to play differently, and it definitely takes an adjustment even though it's still really high level. It just like it can really mess with you initially.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun. I mean, I haven't played in a new offensive system in a while, so be
Yeah,
interesting. But then there's a part of me that feels like offense is just the same always.
I mean I think it like yeah it
Like
kind
to a
of
certain degree, I think people like overcomplicate it. Like I think
yeah
I think you have like your starting like formation ish or whatever, but like if you're playing good offense, I think you're just playing good offense
once you get the
with
distance
your teammates because you're figuring out what your teammates are good at. You know what I mean? And just kind of
and
playing.
yeah, and if you have hard rules you're kind of limiting yourself and your team,
No,
and
this
you're
is
becoming
what.
predictable.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. I've just been talking to people about this because, like, that's the thing for creating like an offensive like system. Like, it's really so hard to make like set foundations that don't limit people. Like, there's some core things that maybe you want your offense to like do, but like at the same time, you really just want to give each player like the freedom to just like play and read what's in front of them, you know, and make decisions. Like you don't want to over complicate it or like contain what's possible by like putting these ground rules on it because like it's so dependent on what the situation is. That's how I feel. Like if you told me to like make an offense, I don't think I would even. I would just like pick seven players and like tell them to spread
Right.
out at this point. Like,
Yeah.
right.
And if you're like a legitimately high level skilled player physically and mentally, like you are good at reading what's going on, you're good at making decisions in real time, and like that's what's really important.
Yeah.
Make the right decisions and reads, and like
And you have the skills to execute the reads. That's the other thing. That's what I'm trying to get kids at, like, at the trading to understand. It's like you have skills so that you can execute things, and then you have to make decisions and quickly and then execute them. Because like I was thinking, like I was playing soccer the other day, and I was seeing all the things that I wanted to do. Like my reading stuff was still kind of there, at
right.
least sometimes, but I would go to like kick the ball and then it would like completely collapse like the whole dream of like the pass I wanted to make and like the shot I
Right.
wanted to take and all that. So it's like that's where it's nice to play ultimate, but that's also why you have to work on the skills so that when you make the read you can execute what you're reading. Like, oh, I see this like, you know, flat backhand that I need to put out in front of someone, but like can you do that consistently?
Right. Yeah, I never played organized soccer, and I'd play pickup sometimes, and I would just like I love playing defense because I'm like
Yeah.
there's not as much
It's yes, 100%, 100%.
there's like I can make the reads and kind of play like, you
It's the
can
same for frisbee. I mean, it's the same. You know, I mean, the defense is like you don't have the like skill aspect of whatever game you're playing
it's
is
not
usually
as
you're
not
not using it. You know, because you
right.
you don't have to like on an ultimate like if you're just playing defense. I mean, that's the thing about ultimate is you still have to score, but
You still have to score, but you're typically not playing against as good of a defensive line if you get the turn. Um, that's big. And even if you and like usually you don't score against like at high levels. Usually you don't. If you can make the offense expend a lot of energy, even if they score, you're still often doing a good job,
yeah, for real.
even though it sucks mentally. It's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, man. Sweet. I probably have to head off here in a couple minutes, but I don't know if there's anything you wanted to, anything else.
No, I like this plan, and then we should get a. I should get a guest on for next week.
Yeah, that's a good call. Um, yeah, if there's someone you have in mind that we want to chat with.
I don't know. Let's talk. 'Cause we should get someone on. You could invite someone. You should get someone.
Yeah, I could talk. I was actually just chatting with Eric Deng.
Okay,
I don't know if you
let's do
follow.
it.
I'll see if he. I know he's super busy because he just like kind of created some different programs. He's working with a lot of people now. So, but yeah, I'll drop him a message and see if he wants to hop on. If not, we get someone else.
Yes, definitely.
And then love that. I love that. You just get in people's face. That's
Dude,
like
Ankh is so jealous of the O line people though. It's just and it shows. It really shows.
well, it's funny. Like I'm excited this year because the with the Masters team, like you know, if it all works out, I'm probably going to end up being. We have especially Masters, man. There's so many offensive minded players. So like
Yeah. They have a plethora of savvy old guys who are good at throwing.
I'm going to be D line, but like
Grinder.
in club, it'll be fun to like. I think our plan is to like have a lot of like fluidity between O and D lines and like.
Dude, but you could be such a menace for O because you could just like really run around people, you know.
Dude, I mean that's what I've.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean I love
Could
O.
go
I love
either
O,
way.
especially because in Masters it's like.
That's what I'm saying, dude. You could really be like a field stretcher, a real like churner, a real connector, you know?
Yeah.
Real like stall resetter too. Like kind of just like
Yeah.
you need like if you're not flowing, like motion is stopped and someone's just kind of like got to get it really quick.
Oh yeah.
You
I
just
love
get it, give it back, and like go move again. That could be a really good spot for
Dude,
you.
even in college, I used to love like when the other team's best players on me, and I'd just be like, "Listen, I'm gonna wreck you." Like,
Yeah.
even if I don't get the disc, you're gonna be so exhausted, you're not gonna want to step back on the field. And like,
Yeah,
in
could be that for
Masters,
you. Could
you
be
can
really
really.
that for you. Could be sick.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I'll put your word in for the team and see what they want to do. But
Yeah. I'll consult.
yeah,
That'd be funny. Tell Panda
that's right.
I want to
We do
consult.
we do have a lot of offensive mind, but that also means like we got a lot of throwers. So, you know,
Dude, I'm saying someone, you need that churning piece. Could be good.
right?
Could be
Right.
good.
People don't want to work, man, especially in Masters.
Especially like in that mid space, I'm telling you, like your flow stops and someone's just gotta like create some offense out of nothing.
Yeah.
Could
Hey,
be could be huge for you. Because you could just like sprint at the disc, get it, give it back, and then like
right.
you know what I mean?
That's why we work on acceleration like that. Like, it's and this is like it's
Like you just
so
be ducking people to the disc, like swim moves.
like the throw and chase. Like it still seems silly, but the ability to just be in any platform and just
Nah, you could be a menace, dude.
yeah. So
Let me talk to Pana and Rainwater and Bear. Let me talk to him. Haven't talked to him. I haven't talked to them fucking so long, dude. I
Yeah.
really should. Now I'm like getting all like nostalgic. Jake was like my guy on.
Jake,
on,
dude, we go way back. Jake used to be on Dickinson when I was at Penn State, and so like there were a number of guys that like I would always cover when we played, and then like 10 years later or 7 years later, I played with them on a team, and now it's like another 9 years later.
Yeah.
But I don't know. If
Ankh. Bro, Ankh, you're just Ankh, we'll get you some frisbee lessons. Don't worry. We're gonna get you on an O line because you have all this hate in your heart for the O line. That's just unnecessary.
Dude, yeah, but you know what? You know what's fun? Like I remember, especially early on, like freshman year, sophomore year, like at Penn State, and then in club, I was like exclusively D line, and like it kind of messes with you sometimes because you're like, I know I can run some of these people off the field,
Dude.
and then you get the opportunity, and it's fun. It's fun to like.
Don't even get me started. I've been saying, I don't think we talked about it, but I'm out on O lines and D lines, especially for club, maybe for UFA. I think we're getting to the point where we don't need O lines and D lines as strict as they've been.
Right. You're gonna run into issues if like the O line has a couple breaks, people get tired and like.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't. I think it's way too limiting and way too. Because I also think like I got that from watching Fury. I think there's just like so many players that if you only let them play one half of like the O line are doing. Like it's just you're not getting the most out of them, and you're not getting the most out of your roster. I think.
And play like, I know I don't have the best puts. I don't have the same hawks or the same breakthrows as other people, but like when you have people on the roster where you're like these people show up in big moments and they want that, you gotta put them in big moments, even if it doesn't happen to be O or D.
Wait, Ankh, do you play group? Because I know a bunch of the group girlies, as you would say, are playing for the super team. For uni club, I play everything. Right, university. Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, you're just a stud on your uni club, but you let the group girlies play off. That's sick though, because yeah, I know that. I think we have like 5 group girlies playing London Invite. So
Sweet.
yeah, it's gonna be exciting.
I've got to hop off. I forgot I have a call at 12:30, but this has been awesome. Great chat.
Yeah, I'm not gonna forget again.
I'll send you a reminder. I
Oh,
realize.
you don't play Glue. Okay, I was like, wow.
But yeah, we will catch you all next week at the latest, maybe in between then, and we'll see if we can get someone else to hop on here too.
Yeah, we'll get someone on for sure.
Yeah.
Let's get someone on. All right, good shit, Brian.
Yeah.
Peace, everyone.
Have a great week.
Bye.
Later.